Right through. Awful. All right, real quick, let me get to our first guest for tonight. Please welcome the commissioner of the NHL. Please say hello to our friend, Mr. Gary Bettman. Hey, Gary.
Hey, how you doing, Elliot? Boy, you guys are pretty harsh on some other arenas. I tell you.
It's called home, Gary. It's home cooking.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, by the way, going to Scotiabank Arena and its predecessors is always a great experience. You know, particularly on a Saturday night when Hockey Night in Canada is there. Going to Montreal and any of the buildings they've been in has always been a treat. And yes, going to your building in Washington is a special experience. But you know what's interesting, and it's not that I'm conducting this interview, but what's interesting is post-Vegas coming into the league, it appears that everyone has upped their game presentation in every sport, because what the Golden Knights did is something that nobody had ever seen before.
And Gary, I was fortunate enough, you let me sit in your suite with my 20-year-old son, Brendan, in the Stanley Cup Finals this year in Edmonton, in Rogers. And it was so amazing. And it's like a 21,000 seat or whatever it is cash register. But when we were there, I wanted to show my son. My son was with me.
No, you guys are focused on the wrong thing. 21,000 great fans. And you know what? We played over 96% of capacity in the regular season. It's different in every building. The vibe, the game presentations, the traditions, you know, how the fans focus on the game. But it's great. That's why I try to get to every building in the course of a season, because it isn't the same in every building.
No,
and it doesn't mean one's bad or one's better. It means they're all different.
Well, you sound like me talking to my son as well, because I always explain that to him. What's better? And I go, they're both awesome. It's just different. But what I was going to say was what an incredible experience it was. You know, people in Edmonton, this is what you do. And it was so incredibly loud, and it was unbelievable. The 50-50s, Gary, I don't know, you probably weren't allowed to buy tickets, but it was close to $30 million.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
$30 million tax-free. It was nuts.
You know what's great about going to a game, particularly in Canada, in the dead of winter? And I make it a practice of going to the Alberta clubs in February or January when it's as cold as it can be. Because, and this is what's great about hockey, no matter where you are or what the temperature is outside, people come together and that exudes a warmth. No matter who you are, what your background is, you know, what you believe in, when it comes to rooting for our game and watching how great our players are, that's the common denominator, and that gives a sense of togetherness and warmth, no matter which of our 32 buildings you're in.
Okay, Gary. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Tar.
Gary, Alex Ovechkin's going to be back here in the next couple of weeks. 26 from tying Gretzky, 27 from passing him. At what point are you going to start gassing up NHL 1 and rounding up Wayne Gretzky and starting to kind of follow the story?
Based on the number, Alex was on a tear until he got hurt, unfortunately. And he had a bunch of multi-goal games. I think when we get down to 5, certainly no less than 4, I've got to start following him around. And the great one, the other great one, 99, is going to be doing that as well. And I think we've concluded at either 5 or 4, we can't take any chances, because when he gets that close, my guess is he's going to be so focused, it's going to happen in a multi-goal game.
Yeah. So you and Wayne have talked about both of you guys getting on the plane and traveling around together to come watch it happen?
Yes, we have.
So, and I'm assuming that means
I said to Wayne, we're going to be bunking with each other for a while.
Old school.
So I guess that means, though, that that it's already been cleared there'll be a whole stoppage of gameplay and that everything will happen. There'll be the presentation.
We will. The build-up to this incredible feat and the moment it gets tied and beaten is something that people will be very pleased with, the focus and the intention and the respect and the celebration that it deserves.
Oh, I can't wait for all of that. But Gary, one of the things that I've asked you in private, and you gave me the greatest answer in the world, and I think everyone needs to hear this, is that
no, wait a minute. If I did it in private, what do you think they're doing?
Well, I want everyone to know, Gary. And the big thing is, I asked you, and I said, I've always wanted to ask you, and you said, well, you've got about 2 hours. You can ask me anything. So my first question was, how much does it mean, and what does it mean to you to hand out the Stanley Cup? We just saw a great picture of you handing it to Ovi. What does it mean to you to be able to do that with each and every captain of every Stanley Cup winner?
It's the best thing I get to do. With all the things that I do get to do, which are very special, having been in this position for more than 3 decades, and even in years when we've had some interesting challenges, there's nothing better than being given the honor of presenting the best trophy that there is or has ever been. And what's really great about it, yes, it's the trophy, and it's got its own charisma and the history and the tradition and how special it is, and we don't make a new one every year. But I get to be on the ice as close to the players who have just accomplished a lifelong dream, and to see the emotion and the looks in their eyes being that close to them makes it a truly remarkable and special experience. And, you know, I had COVID a couple of years back, and it was the one time I didn't give out the cup. And I'm sitting on my couch at home watching on TV. That was an out-of-body experience, and I realized even more then how much I missed doing it.
Hey, Gary, do you remember just watching that clip? Do you remember what you said to Alex when he came over?
I don't think about it. And also, I'm looking at the clip. It looks like 1/8 of an inch based on the technology. I probably said, you know, this is remarkable. Congratulations. Well deserved. I didn't have to ask him if he was excited, although I might have, but it was patently obvious that he had one of the truly great reactions in terms of celebrating the cup. Listen, he's had a great career, and he's having a great career. And the one thing on his resume that he was missing that everybody knew was important to him, I think for him to have accomplished that goal, both for himself and his team and all the great fans in Washington, had to be something that just was probably almost beyond comprehension for him, as much as he wanted it.
Hey, can you tell from the NHL level what he's meant to, not just to hockey, but what he's meant to D.C.?
Yeah, I mean, listen, his coming to Washington, Ted Leonsis owning the club, you coming to Washington and covering the team the way you do and getting fans engaged in hockey. This is all part of what has made hockey a great part of the sports scenes in Washington, Greater Washington. It's turned Washington into a hockey market, and it's not just at the NHL level, it's at the grassroots level. And you know, look at Fort DuPont and the great work that Neil does there. All of that's part of having really gotten people to focus on how great hockey players are, what a great game it is, and for young people, how it teaches life lessons about teamwork and leadership and physical fitness and the importance of discipline in education. It's all part of the package. And the Capitals, with Ovi, you know, with the helm for the last 2 decades, have been an unbelievable force in making that happen.
Gary, getting back to the hot start that Ovi had, 15 goals in 18 games. Yeah. Be honest with me. Did you guys in the league headquarters freak out the way we all did? We're like, we're not ready for this to happen in like February.
No, we have to be ready for everything at any time. Right. And frankly, it was great to see. I mean, when you think about the record that Wayne has, and you think about how hard it was to accomplish, and the fact that Ovi, in addition to his skill and his knowledge of the game and how great he is on the ice and what a great teammate he is, up until now, and I don't want to jinx it, he's managed to stay remarkably healthy.
Yep.
And so, you know, he is in some ways a force of nature.
Hey, let me switch gears for a second, Gary. Are you happy with the rosters came out for the Four Nations Cup, right? Are you looking forward? I feel like we're dipping our toe a little bit before we get into like the whole world best on best. But are you happy with how that's rolling along?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I know there are no caps on the team, but
I was waiting for that.
Teams, so I am aware, but I mean, we had nothing to do with that. That's up to the federations that select their own teams, and it's a testament to how good a team the Caps are right now. Okay, you are watching the ultimate team play. I'm excited about it we know. Listen, people tend to forget that NHL players didn't go to the Olympics before '98, and we arranged for that to happen. And we saw the benefits and we saw the difficulties. It does impact our season. It disrupts the flow of it at an important time. But in the final analysis, when we stopped going and then we said we'd go back and then COVID hit, it was all from our standpoint. Yes, we know there are difficulties, but we know how important it is to the players. Our players have a history and tradition from a young age of representing their countries. A third of our players come from outside of North America. It's not like any of the other three major sports in North America. But it was clear to me that this was something that meant a lot to the players, and we had to do it. We had some false starts on World Cups with the Players Association, and they're 50% partners in every way in terms of decision making and organizing. That's a historical factor, and with changes in the leadership over time, it made it more and more difficult. And that's why we hadn't done it since 2016, 15, whatever it was, 15 or yes, it was 16. Anyway, with Marty Walsh there, he has been a great partner, working hard together, representing the players well, but also recognized the importance of international competition. So we made arrangements with the International Olympic Committee to go to Milan next season for the Olympics. Then 2 years after that, we're going to do a World Cup. And then 2 years after that, we're going to go back to the Olympics. And 2 years after that, we're going to do a World Cup, and so on and so on. But we didn't have enough time to organize a full World Cup for this season. If we had had more time, we probably would have. But that said, we figured we could do a Four Nations tournament. We've got some really good rivalries in this one. And this is kind of, as I think you said, Elliot, it's a bit of an appetizer.
Right.
It's a way to get things started. And based on the preliminary excitement that's been building, we think it's going to be a great tournament, and it bodes well for what our international competitions are going to look like as we move forward on a regular basis.
So I know you said that you had nothing to do with it. Would you agree then that Tom Wilson got screwed?
I don't get into individual player decisions. Tom's a great player. And I know he enhances any team he plays for, and he's the type of player that a lot of teams would want to have. But you know, we don't get involved when the countries decide who they want on their teams. And by the way, there are a lot of talented players in this league.
I don't want to put the cart ahead of the horse, but do you think?
But you're going to do it.
But
anyway.
I'm going to do it anyway. Do you think anyone is going to maybe challenge Ovi, assuming Ovi does get to Gretzky? Is there anybody you think who's in the pipeline now who might get to that number?
You know, when you look at the numbers that our friend in Toronto and our friend in Edmonton, both of them are putting up, you never know. I mean, that's the great thing about sports. Right. In the final analysis, we go from generation to generation. Our players are getting bigger and stronger, better conditioned, more skilled than ever before. Who knows, right? Who knows? But that's the great thing about sports. You know what? Let's focus on Ovi doing it and not worry about the third great one.
Hey, so publicly, Wayne will say that he thinks it's great and he's pulling for Ovi. When you call him and tell him, hey, we're going to go travel around, is there any part of him that hates to see this one get broken?
No, he is, in all of our conversations, publicly and privately, he is supportive. He's excited. He has incredible affection and respect for Ovi. This is all good.
Hey, so I guess next up for the league, kind of coming up quickly, will be the Winter Classic coming up. Looks great. Everything so far looks really good. I love the music for it this year.
Yeah, you're a Smashing Pumpkins fan and Chance the Rapper.
No, it's fantastic. Yeah. Nice job on the music.
Let's do that hockey.
All right, Gary. I think. Well, first of all, thank you for your time.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
That was awesome.
Great to be with you. You got a big game coming up from a building you were making fun of. But enjoy it. It has all the marks of a great season. And what's great to see, if I'm a Caps fan, is the team's playing really well, better than anybody was predicting.
Awesome. Gary, appreciate it. Thanks, you, bud.
Gary.
Good. Good to be with you
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
You got to talk to you.